It's about 10:15 p.m. on Saturday, June 5th. I I wasn't going to say anything uh, this year. And it's not really because I had decided not to say anything, but there are two really important, I guess, well, significant, I would say. There were two significant anniversaries in my life that happened within, the last 10, 12 days. The second anniversaries of two significant events, and I forgot about them this year. I forgot. A year ago, leading up to these two anniversaries was because it was a first anniversary of a couple of things that happened. Last year was the first anniversary of these two things. And for weeks leading up to these two anniversaries, I was a fucking mess. I was a complete fucking mess. And this year I forgot. I forgot about them. I just, I forgot about them. And, it relates to my PTSD, it relates to the flashbacks and the blackouts that I had been having for the last couple of years that fortunately ended last December, right before Christmas was the last one. And then I got back into pretty intense in-person weekly therapy with a trauma specialist. And I joined a men's group that meets every other week, twice a month. Uh, and I've been working my ass off at that stuff. I've been trying really hard to show up and do the things that I need to do for me and for other people in my life who have to deal with me on a daily basis. Mainly my brother Falcon. I mean, it's like he'd been cleaning up fucking messes, man, for a year and a half. And I put that kid through some fucking shit, man. But all right, so what are those two anniversaries? Friday, June 23rd, 2023. That was the day that I woke up. I mean, I live on the West Coast. Most of my TikTok friends live on the East Coast, and like 5 o'clock in the morning my time, so 8 a.m. East Coast time, my phone just starts fucking blowing up. And they're like, dude, you need to check your fucking TikTok, man. Something is wrong. And I woke up that morning to find out that I was being doxxed on a massive scale by people who I didn't know. And I mean hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people attacking me in the comments of my videos, calling me a racist, calling me a misogynist, calling me homophobic, calling me transphobic, saying that I hate disabled people. Um, and I did some pretty expansive videos explaining all of this stuff in well, I did some pretty expansive videos on this stuff a year ago because I made it into a big thing a year ago. And then another one of my mutuals was doxxed and endlessly harassed by this same group of people at the end of January and the beginning of February this year, and I did a bunch of videos about this stuff then. And my home address was being shared widely across TikTok and across multiple other social media platforms. The name, the address, the phone number of my employer, all of our email addresses were being shared on TikTok and across other multiple other social media platforms. And there were 5 or 6 people who were the driving force behind this stuff. Um, and so it's like that stuff happening was bad enough. The fact that 3 of those people who were the driving force behind some of this shit up until that day had been mutuals of mine, people who knew my real name, people who had my cell phone number, people I had texted with, at least one of whom I had met in person and hung out with. That was bad enough. That layer made all of it worse. And I had to, contact our HR department and tell them what was happening and tell them why. That I was being targeted. I was being targeted by a creator on this app who has a very large following. And then a couple other creators with large followings joined in. And I had to tell the HR department what was happening. And then I had to call my boss at the time, who was on vacation with his family. That was a super fun fucking phone call. And that was on Friday, June 23rd, 2023. And 10 days later, at 5 p.m. West Coast time on July 3rd, I was fired from my job over a Zoom call. My boss at the time had spent 30 years building his firm. His name was on the door. His reputation, his firm's reputation was on the line. And I bore him no ill will and still don't to this day. I mean, he and I have been friends for over 20 years. He's always been incredibly generous to me over that entire period of time. But it's like, he's got a family. He owns a business. He's got to protect what's his. And both of those anniversaries passed this year, and I didn't remember them. There was no big lead up to it. There were no weeks of agonizing and angst and whatever leading up to it. I just forgot because I'm doing a ton of other things. And my life today is so dramatically better than it was 2 years ago. And the things that are happening in my life today, the things that I'm doing in my life today, the things that my brother is doing with me in my life and in his life today are so far beyond our wildest dreams, combined with all of the work that I've been doing in therapy and in the men's group, like working really hard. That's like, who gives a shit? It's, yeah, okay, that happened. It was incredibly traumatic at the time. It was incredibly difficult to experience and go through at the time. And I thought that my professional life was over. I thought all kinds of things were over. And it turns out I was wrong. Every single aspect of my life today is 1,000 times better now, today, than it was 2 years ago. I could give 2 fucking shits about the people who did all of those things to me back then. I don't care. I don't think about them. I feel empathy for them because every single one of them, the physical circumstances of them as human beings and the circumstances of their daily lives are objectively horrific and terrible and depressing. And none of that has anything to do with me. I don't wish them any ill will, but I could give 2 fucking shits about every single one of them. Because my life is amazing right now. And that's what I'm focusing on.